just back after our very second game, and we needed all 13 rounds to determine a winner. But Into the Breach, you guys won, and I'm standing here with Walker. How are you feeling after this very tense game?
Yeah, of course. It was a tough one. I mean, started out kind of more or less as we thought, and we slipped up towards the end, but we, got the head down and we figured it out.
That's how you managed to win that final round? Just get the head down, make sure everyone's on the same page?
Yeah, grind.
All right, how did prep go in regards to this tournament? Because I heard that maybe that hasn't been the easiest for you guys.
Yeah, for our team in particular, it was kind of tough. I mean, we had one guy away at a wedding in Hong Kong, and the other guy was renovating, so we were playing for the most part as three, and the practice time was a bit, shaky. But happy now, confident now, and hopefully we can keep up the good luck and the good run.
It's being away for good reasons, but also indeed good that you still got to get some kind of practice in.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now after you've won this very first game? Are you feeling ready to get more wins under the belts?
Relieved. I mean, we didn't want to start in a loss, and we were here and we watched the lads, and I'm gutted for the boys that they lost to in the bounce, but I mean, it has to happen. I know we have to avoid having that happen to us,
Indeed, yeah, but you won your very first matchup, so you can go get ready and hopefully play your second matchup later today, and hopefully for you guys the same result. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Right, and then after our second game, of course, there's a lot for us to talk about on the analyst desk, because it was a very close and very intense game. We have a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with you. Back to our analyst desk as well. We are here with Demo, with Giga, and we have a lot to say about this game, I think, because it was very close. It almost slipped out of the hands of Into the Breach, but they still managed to secure it.
Yeah, it was such a close game. This is what we were looking for in the second game that we've seen, because the first one was so one-sided, but it was so exciting to see. We've pulled back a little bit in terms of the agent preset that we've seen, and I think this map just lent itself to some more varied tactics versus the first one. So
yeah, a lot more of an open map. We've seen a lot more assault rifles come in. We'll get on to Blackjack in a bit. I'm sure we'll probably have some replays as well to show. But still we're seeing agents. I think middle of the plane, we were seeing a lot of that still be used, getting the stims, getting there as quick as you can. And I think you had to go that route because you knew the enemy was going to be bringing that, and you need to almost combat each other with those MP9s, and it's just whoever hits their shots wins that, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the rate of fire, and it's, again, super close quarters inside the center of the plane. The agent preset is becoming like the backbone of the team, and then you sort of build around that with some of the other classes. I mean, on this map, it's a little bit more open. You need to hear where people are, and 9 of the 10 kits have a headset on. So again, it's super important to have that audio. But we did see, we saw something a little bit different. We saw the Blackjack. With the middle of the plane being so important, you've got points on both sides. So if you don't control the plane, then you're really leaving it up to chance as to whether you are going to point A or B. And so the Blackjack class ended up being really important because Ghost could fire through the side of the plane and catch people as they're running up the ramp.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one later, but let's watch the match replay highlights as well to see what exactly went down on this match and all the gunfights that we've had so far. In my opinion, this really felt like it was the Brex versus Go show.
Yeah, I think a lot of it kind of came down to that middle of the map. A lot of the times, I think Ghost has to get his lookout as well. I think he finished 16 kills, something like that, in the end. We've seen a really good clutch. We got 1v2, kind of contesting the point as well. I thought was really clean to see. But yeah, for the most part, I think the gun skill was good. A few unfortunate team kills that happened, which. It happens, and exactly. I think that's the realism though. You don't really get to see who is in your team unless you can see what color they're wearing on their arm.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And
that's
sometimes you just can't tell. You know, if there's situations where you can only see the person's head or their legs, you actually don't know what team they're on. So if you're not communicating fully, it can be very difficult to actually know. You know, and in the moment you say, "Is that you? Is that you?" Like, how can you just can't get away with that?
If you're too late with that, you're already killed in the process, for example, as well. So I think round 9 was a really important round as well. That was when Fibble was securing the objective and he shot down 2 of the enemy players. That was huge.
Yeah, 1v2, I think, just to get them back into where they need to. It was very back and forth. It kind of felt as though it was maybe running away in the direction, but having a clutch just pulls you right back into the game. It gets the momentum up. It gets it going again. I was very impressed with ITB. I think ITB were very, very clean today. We'll see, again, some of the highlights probably from ITB as well. That they knew what they wanted to go for. They knew that they wanted to take middle of the plane, sending 4 people in there at sometimes as well. They knew the importance of taking that, whereas I think I said, again, just a little bit too passive. That same sniper sitting at the back of the map doesn't do any favors.
Yeah, we're going to see some highlights again from this game, but indeed, you mentioned Ascend still, that sniper thing. Do you feel like Ascend did kind of the same?
I think it's unfortunate to go for the sniper. I think just with ITB's ability to send Walker to go and get the fixed weapon spawns on the map, he could pick the MP9 class and then go and get an SVD with a Voodoo on it. So he actually didn't have to go and pick a sniper class, because remember, you're stuck with it, right? So if the situation isn't working with the Sentry, you just have to roll with it. Whereas like Walker's got an MP9 and an SVD, but you can only go and pick it up if you want to, if that's what your team's going to do in that particular round. I mean, it keeps you really flexible, and for this map, it worked out. They knew what they wanted to do, like, very strongly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked about this a lot, about that gun pick a point around the map, but there's many more games that we have to play. I mean, we just had this one, a very, very close game. It's time for Into the Breach to rest a little bit, because Virtus Pro is coming back. They're playing their second game, looking to get a second victory as well, and they're playing against Hepta right after our short break. Welcome back. We are ready for our third game of the day. Well, almost ready. We still need to get the teams. We need to get all the information going. But we're about to get into our third game of the day. As we said, Virtus Pro is coming back, and they're playing against a team that hasn't played yet today. They're playing against Hepta, and Virtus Pro, they had a very dominant first game. Are you expecting anything similar this game, or maybe something different?
I expect VP to come in and do the job again. I think it's always to see that they have a very good understanding of setting tempo, especially in that first game where we've seen them just straight into it. They knew exactly point, we're going to take this, we're going to take that, and we're just going to completely rinse you from any positions that you want to control.
Indeed, yeah, and since we haven't seen their opponent yet in the server or on the stage, it's time to welcome them for the very first time. Team Hepta. I think these videos look really nice, and the players coming up, they seem pretty relaxed, they seem pretty chill. I'm pretty sure they've seen that first game from Virtus.pro as well, so I think it's time to get them to the stage as well. The second team that Team Hepta is playing against is Team Virtus.pro. This probably feels familiar for them. They've done this before today. They're just getting used to going back into those seats. And I think one player that really stood out to me on that roster specifically, because we'll have a look at the player lineups as well. One of these players that really stood out to me was Hard, I think.
Yeah, he had a few moments where I think there was time where he had to go for the clutch. I think he was kind of stuck. Probably the only time that VP looked actually quite weak on her, and he was able to get them out of that. I also think FMX was a real big game changer for them, but I think it's difficult to really look at VP and not highlight all of them because it was such a standout performance, a very dominant performance.
Yeah, it's true. They did super well. But I mean, I'll remind everybody that, you know, one of the few PvP-centric tournaments we actually had in Tarkov, the Punisher tournament, Hard was in the top 3 for that. So, you know, he's a really good player. And as I said, there's some people who are not necessarily as well known in the community that are just insane at the game. And it's their time to shine.
That is so very true. I mean, we know that Virtus.pro has some kind of experience within competitive, within other games. They qualify for a world tournament in another game. But then for Hepta, when I spoke to these players, they said, oh, we're like 7 content creator friends. So we kind of have this, well, previous pro players or pro players with experience going on against content creators. Do you feel like that might benefit Virtus.pro, or would that put any fear in the thoughts of Hepta, maybe?
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? You know, if you haven't played like professional esports together as a team, it's a different thing. But, you know, hopefully with the experience they've got, they're able to, you know, pull something together. I mean, most people are probably aware of Meyer. You know, he's got an item in the game, so, you know, he's an OG of Tarkov, and he's got, you know, got a good crew with him. So hopefully they can, you know, they've been practicing a lot and can pull it together.
Indeed, yeah, and we talk about, if we talk about Hepta as well, for example, when talking to these players, they said like, oh, we had this early access in Gamescom, but we played Arena, so they have the experience, they played this game before, and they said, well, oh, we were just out on one evening, we were just enjoying a drink, and then we decided, hey, let's form an organization with the 7 of us, which is what Hepta stands for in Greek, and let's compete, because we should be ready when this esports comes out, and we should be the first team to make sure that we are ready and, you know, enter the stage.
I think it's having the drive, isn't it? Having, you know, that little bit of, we want this, we want to go for this. It's not just these guys, you know, I think on the surface, you hear that and you say, oh, it's just a bunch of friends who are playing. No, these are a bunch of friends who want to win. They want to compete. They want to be the best. It's a different mindset than just showing up with your mates.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully that camaraderie will also help versus the teams that we've seen that are kind of split, so like part pros, part Tarkov players. Like these guys all know each other. They know how they play. They've probably been playing together for years and years and years. And in something this new, you know, who knows? Maybe that will become a huge advantage, right? You know, there's not that much squad play in Tarkov, but it may play into their hands.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, when you're a content creator, it gets really risky. Like, you want to create more content, you want to play the game more, you want to be the best that you can be when you're creating that content. These guys have multiple thousands of hours in the game, but I'm sure we'll discuss a little bit more about that later, though, because we have a short break. These players need to make sure they are ready to enter the stage or to start playing their games. So we have a short break, and we will be right back. Teams are setting up behind us on the stage, and they should almost be ready to get into the game. But once we have those two teams, there's still one vital part that we are missing. We need to make sure what map we're playing on. We've seen Bull, we've seen Air Pit. You think there's maybe another map coming out, or will we go back to any of those two, you think, Giga?
I think that because they're quite balanced maps, I think they're going to be in high demand for the teams to actually play. Some of the ones we said about Sawmill before, it's very, very open. It's a completely different style. It's actually a bit more like classic Tarkov, honestly. But then you've got ones on the other side, like Equator, and you've also got Bay 5 as well, which are really, really tiny. And so if you've got a particular strategy, then maybe you could fit something around that. I think we could see either of those two if you want to play close range, because you know, you can pick one of those to play on, whereas, like, again, I just think Sawmill, because it stands out on its own, unless you have really practiced it and you also don't think they're going to ban it, then I think it's going to be one that we don't see until later on.
Yeah, for sure. There obviously is an idea behind these bans and behind the strategy for these two teams. So let's bring up the map video and see what map we are eventually going to out of these 5 maps that we have in competition at the moment. We are going to Equator. I think one very important thing to mention with that is this is a map that only has one objective.
Yeah, it's going to play a little bit different than what we've seen previously. It's good to see another different map, and I see a good mix. It's not just, oh, it's Bull every single time or something like that we have. Yeah, Equator, it's obviously going to be a little bit different compared to Air Pit and Bull, I think. Honestly, Hepta might have a good chance here, because I don't think that VP are going to have the same amount of picks as what they would want compared to what they were getting in Bull, where they get in there quick. A little bit more, you kind of have to move around with a little bit more, I think, longer corridors as well. So there could be opportunities to kind of outgun them, considering if they're only going to be running MP9s again, could be potential for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is another one for, you know, 5v5 agent kit. You know, I think that preset is going to be so strong on this map in particular, so it's going to be fascinating to see what they actually pick. But as you say, I think this map, amongst probably of all of them, maybe other than the Bay 5, is going to be one where it's all going to come down to how they shoot, and this is really going to be a test of raw skill, I think, on this one. And strategy maybe will it's important, but it's not going to be as important because you've got that one capture point in the middle. You don't have this game of chicken between the two.
I gave it chicken, yeah. There's so much unknown still because it's the first time we're going to see Hepta. We've seen Virtus.pro, but to be fair, with the short amount of time that we saw Virtus.pro due to their dominant performance, we haven't really seen all too much from them either. So can we really say how they play, what we'll expect, especially on a different map as well? I don't really think we can say that, but do you have any expectations for this matchup? Virtus.pro was really dominant, but we haven't seen Hepta yet.
I think VP still the favourites. I think they have to be. They just looked as if they knew exactly what they were doing. They were hitting their shots, and at the end of the day, we can sit there and talk about the strategies and the tactical aspect. You hit someone in the head, what happens?
They die.
They die.
Whoa.
So it's as easy as that.
It's like basic maths.
Yeah.
I wish I was better at maths, but this, I understand this. That's very good. But any expectations on your side?
I think, we haven't seen them yet on the Hepta side, but I think VP's experience and the players that they have there, I think it might favour them. They've also warmed up as well, and with this being a bit more mechanically orientated in terms of the maps, that might also give them an advantage. So they can take the momentum that they had from game one and bring it through here. So I think, if I had to pick, then I'd probably pick VP, but who knows, we haven't seen Hepta yet, so maybe they're just going to pull out some insane shots.
For sure. Of course, since it's a new map as well, which we haven't seen, we have some footage of the map to show you guys what this map is about or what it looks like, what parts of the map you see. So what's standing out to you, Demo?
Just a lot of kind of long angles you can kind of play off. Obviously, there's a decent amount of cover as well. Hopefully there's going to be no sniper rifles involved this time, and if there is, then I think you're asking for it big time. And keep in mind, whatever you choose, you are locked in for it for the full game. You have no options to say, okay, I'll start with this class and be halfway through, I'll go for something else. No, you don't get that luxury. You choose it, you play it.
Exactly, so you can surprise them in the first couple of rounds if you pick something that's kind of off, but they've got enough time, because it's at first to 7, they've got enough time to react, respond, plan accordingly, and fix the situation. So I think we're not going to see that many snipers, just simply because even on the long sight lines, there's actually quite a lot of cover that you can dart from one thing to another. I think it's going to be very fast-paced on this map, and again, I think Stamina Stims may well be very favoured here.
Yeah, could very much be indeed. And one thing that really pointed out to me, or stood out to me, was the camera in the beginning of the map. So if we see more team kills, you best believe you're going to get caught on 4K in that regards. But hopefully for them, the immersion is kind of the same, I guess, as it is in the regular game of Tarkov, isn't it?
Yeah, the game itself, especially when there's new people playing it, they always say to me, it's so oppressive. You can hear everything. Everything sounds like it's so close. It's kind of hard to judge distances because all the guns are just hugely. They're just explosive everywhere around you. And the first rule that everybody gets told is always wear a headset. So then that amplifies it up even more. And so that's the thing about Arena. It's still keeping the core concepts and the feel of Tarkov that we're used to, but it's just distilling it right down into that PvP-centric game mode that we've been looking for a long time. Yeah. A lot of people want that breath of fresh air just to go and frag out, and we haven't had that, so it's great.
Indeed, yeah. Now, maybe the crowd isn't that familiar yet with Hepta. Is there any players on the roster of Hepta that you think specifically stand out and that we need to keep our eyes on, any of you two?
As I said, May is the most well-known there. He's got the most experience in the game. I think, I don't know, he's probably going to be leading the team, I would say, and just sort of driving that strategy forwards. But they've got some other really great players as well. Two Twisters as well is extremely good. So it's so hard to know, because when you're playing Tarkov, and especially if you're a creator as well, you're trying to make content out of the game. That's not always just PvP frag movies, right? We've moved on from that a long time ago. And so a lot of what you do in Tarkov is, especially when you're on stream, is you're talking to people and moving through the map, and the amount of actual gunfights you get into is not actually that high.
You could go a whole raid without even seeing anyone.
Yeah.
That's the realism of playing Tarkov just normally, is you might not even get a chance to fire your weapon. In this, if you don't fire your weapon, we're going to have questions asked at you, first of all. So I don't know how much you can really take from players who were maybe good on just playing normal Tarkov compared to this, where it is all about the kills. There could be players there where, I'm actually terrible at looting, I'm not really good at pathing, but I know how to hit headshot. And that is where you will thrive in this kind of game mode.
Yeah, indeed, for sure. We talked about Hepta and how they have this experience as content creation. When I talked to these guys, they said, we have 7,000, 8,000 hours in this game. That is a lot. That's a lot of hours. But then, indeed, as you mentioned, you're going up against teams that have played on a competitive level. A team that qualified for a World Championship.
Yeah, that happened. happens, and you're going to have to deal with that. Whenever it's going to be new, everyone's going to be wanting to get in there and get their hands on it and really get in there early. And for a team like VP, where you have these players coming in from other games, they're going to be hungry again to build more success for themselves as players just throughout esports. You know, it's all well and good being good in one game, but doing it in two, you're hitting Shroud levels then, aren't you, at that stage?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're experiencing multiple of these esports, that's very impressive indeed, for sure. And it looked like Virtus Pro had a really good start. I think this is going to be a really good test for them, because we talked about, like, hey, you know, Ascent having had their very first loss in their very first game. Sometimes teams like that, because you get that first hit and you can go up from there. But for Virtus Pro, especially knowing that they might be playing against a team of, well, content creators, not to downgrade them, but would you think that maybe make them overconfident?
I mean, it's certainly possible. Yeah, they could underestimate their enemy and think, you know, we're so prepared and, you know, we've done everything. And then if they start to lose the first couple of rounds, I mean, everything's to play for. Yeah, and they could lose focus quite easily, actually. So we're going to have to see, especially given that they're, you know, we've said they practice a lot, but they are, a split team. You know, 2 Tarkov mains and 3 Rainbow Six guys. So it's, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll all come down to that, you know, the prior relationship that the players have got together, and Hepta will use that to win. It's hard to say right now.
Yeah, well, Hardhead was the first to Kappa a little while ago.
Yeah, I think in one of the wipes, yeah, I think it was one of the first Kappas, either first Kappa EU or first Kappa globally, one or the other, because, you know, people love to do those races through, do all the quests and everything, but again, it's why I keep bringing up the Punisher tournament, because that's kind of the most pure form we've seen, because Kappa involves all sorts of random stuff that you have to do, you know.
You never thought about going for the record?
I've had Kappa, I had Kappa, and then I had the birth of my first child, and I never got Kappa again.
Oh,
so
no.
what does that tell you?
Oh, no, I mean, different priorities maybe. Some teams are having some issues at the moment, you know, getting ready. There's things that they have with their setups maybe that aren't working 100% as they wanted to. So we have a little bit more time to discuss these two teams, to discuss the specific matchup as well. But we talked about the map as well, right? It's Equator. It is a map that has one objective. I didn't keep my eye on the map bend phase. I don't know which of the two teams banned Sawmill, but I just heard that the teams are actually ready. So that's something very exciting. We should be getting into the game very shortly. And we need our casters, obviously, to guide you through that. So Happen Tolasma, take it away.
We are quite ready to jump in towards a new map, a new match, and of course, a new team. We've seen VP, they destroyed Ascent in the first match, and we're really curious to see on a map that we are saying that, of course, has long angles if the MP9s would strike again at.
Yeah, that's it, right? There's some longer angles, but of course, if everybody's running an MP9, there's no helmet, so you can just, you know, play with that red dot and just get the one taps out on those heads. So it is going to be interesting to see how this map will develop. Are we seeing different kits coming through? I mean, we saw the M4 with the 100-round magazines in the previous one. I mean, if it is such long angles, and, you know, I saw a lot of wood in there, so you might be able to do some bangs there as well. Maybe that's a better kit to go for.
Yeah, and as the analyst desk already mentioned, the interesting thing is that this map has only one objective. However, it's completely enclosed. It's almost entombed by the slightly elevated angles around it, and it might make it hard. If there would be players like Chris who like to play the sniper on a longer angle, that want to play as far back as possible, they might have to be forced to move in, because otherwise you just can't protect the objective.
I mean, this is the thing as well, right? They knew one was far away, so you basically always have the numbers advantage when you're going for a close push. And that is something they might not really have now until they figure out whether or not there is someone playing on that distance. And otherwise, I mean, we saw them take really quick mid-control, like just be around the center of the map and just try and hold it from there. Maybe that's the same strategy they're going to be applying here. Again, we don't know. We just have to wait and see how this map plays out for the very first time. It's good that we've had 3 games, and the third map is also being shown right now, because it allows us to get a bit of a feel for each and every map.
We've had tournaments where, unfortunately, we've just had this same map played over and over and over again. So it's quite a change, and quite a change for the better, actually. So I'm really curious to see what the teams will bring. And I'm really curious to see how Hepta will perform. As said, we can't underestimate them. And as we're jumping in towards the first map already, again, the 5 MP9s from VP, they just want to put on the pressure. We'll see a shotgun in the stiletto for Meyer for the first time.
Yeah, his course is going to be trying to stick to those CQB engagements. Just a single pump might be enough to find a kill. Hepta's going to be able to find the first kill. FMX will go down. Some small damage already done to a couple of the players. On either side, the shotgun misses, and that is the danger when you use a pump action. VP finds 2 or 3, and we also get some trades out from Hepta, a 2-on-2 after the first 30 seconds.
Almost friendly fight there from Rask. Luckily noticing in time, but what a high energy start of this match already. It's going to be Vasily, the only player alive against 2 from VP, or just trying to wait it out, play the time, and see what mistakes might be made. Of course, it's an MP9 battle, it's an MP9 fest, as Vasily is trying to move closer and closer towards the objective, knowing that within 30 seconds, it will become active, and there might be issues. Sees someone running by, they know where he is, and for now, he's able to make it in towards a 1v1. Hart goes down, Rask, the sole member standing, and Vasily actually not being hit that much.
Just a small amount of damage. Of course, Rask still full. Both have a full entire magazine left. Actually, Rask too. So it's really going to be coming down to who's going to be making that first move, who's going to be able to find the other angle first. But as you see, Rask, he's really holding off the capture point here, and he sees him go by. A little bit of damage done to Vasily, but not quite enough. Rask will go for the reload, and the heals will come through. But look at that, like lower thorax has been taken out. So there's going to be double damage coming through on that side of things as Rask spots him up above and finds the kill. And round 1 goes for the Spro.
Yeah, VP just doing the work that is needed, despite losing the first player in this round. And interestingly enough, they are able to come out on top. But of course, we saw them shine in the first map already against the Sand, 7-1 on towards Bowl. And now they are bowling for another win. Seeing what this new round will bring, there will be nades coming out also from Meyer. And Tony also throwing it in straight away.
Oh, instantly some shots coming through. Twisted will find Rask, and nades going off on either side. Magic will find Ton. It's just super explosive at the start of these rounds, and just the trades continue to go on as Magic spotted a player out there but doesn't quite want to move on, as he has a really good position where he is right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4-on-3 despite, again, VP having some troubles at the start with 2 Twisted getting the first shot on towards Rask. But they are able to bounce back and back again, just knowing that despite them losing players, they're able to just have the positional advantage because they seem to have a quite good grasp on all the maps being played so far. Time is ticking slowly but steadily as FMX is trying to get closer towards the objective already. Seeing the body of his fallen comrade makes him a little bit sad, but also hungry for a fight.
Yeah, for sure. And shots are being fired everywhere. They have themselves set up for cover just to make sure that one person can take that fight, and if a flank is happening, you are ready for it. 20 seconds until the capture points go online. FMX taking a shot from the shotgun there. Heavy bleed, lost his arm. Hard will find him though, so the shotgun not really working out too well so far, as Vasily will find another kill though as Hard comes around the corner. A 3-on-2 capture point, again, soon to be online, and they set themselves up around it. And now they have to make the decision, do we go for a capture, or will we try and wait out VP?
It's actually insane how well VP plays on each other's contact as Magic takes down Vasily. Only Twisted is alive. A 1v3 trying to move in. They now know where he is. He takes down 1, but he will fight 2 more and unable to do so. VP takes the 2nd round in a row, and once again, they show their dominance happen.
I mean, this is the thing with Virtus Pro, right? We've said it before, that 3 of these players have played at the highest level of competition in a different kind of esports. They have a lot of discipline. They know what it's like to be in, I mean, it's not as hardcore of a shooter, but it's still, a pretty difficult shooter they're in. And now they just need to transfer that around. And a lot of those players actually, play Tarkov on their free time. It was their, their relax game, if you can call Tarkov a relax game. It's very stressful to me personally. And they have 2 of these prodigies together, and they just bring that all into a single team as WTG starts it off with a great first kill.
Nate almost takes down FMX, but Vasily just being executed in front of his teammate as Meyer now takes down FMX with the shotgun. Still, we do see a lot of damage going down on towards the Hepta players, but they are making moves. Twisted takes down Rask. The shotgun is getting in closer as Meyer has gotten a little bit of control here, but Hard then goes for a little bit of flank, takes down Spinty. Magic takes down Tony, and there's only 2 more players left on the Hepta side.
Meyer goes down, it's only up to Twisted now in a 3v1. All of them running the agent kit. Stims are coming out as well, so just give yourself that little bit of extra. Spots out a single player, goes for the fight, but loses his head by Hard. And VP 3-0. Mind you, they've only lost a single round so far. That, you know, wasn't that first game of the day. They completely obliterated their opponents by the discipline, by working together, playing on contact. Just hard realizing, being ready for the fights. And you know, he took a lot of damage, but you know, was the last one standing anyway.
Yeah, but this is also what you mentioned before. VP comes from a competitive background and he sees certain aspects of that coming through in towards the game. Playing on contact, when one player sees someone or gets shot at, they will have to respond. Now the nade kill coming in from Meyer, shotgun kill as well, takes down 2 already to equalize the score. And he's trying to pull Hepta in towards a first round. The rage, however, on the shotgun, not too great for that shot on towards the buzz, and WTG takes down Splinty. Now, again, VP has the advantage. They know where Meyer is, but he, on short range, will always have the advantage.
Well, he's using the AP-20 slug, so it is going to be, you know, very effective at long ranges as well. And basically he ignores a bunch of the armor. And that's when you hit it on the upper, you know, near the neck, near the head. It's going to be an instant kill either way. And even goes through some of those chest armors, so make sure you just hit the chest, upper area. You find yourself in an instant kill. He's just holding off tight. They are slightly in a disadvantage here, as there's only one-man bonus on the side of VP. And they're just holding off for now. They don't actually need to go for a push. WTG is, I don't know what he's doing actually. Might be his gun just up against the wall. Checking his inventory. And as the push is coming in, Ton is trying to make some ground, but that means noise will be made. They're going to be aware of the fact where he is, if someone is playing close by, and the runs are coming through. Meyer is on the other side of it, and just trying to hold off for the capture point here. But I think that's the exact same thing that Virtus Pro is going to be doing. They're going to be trying to hold off on the capture point. Just going to be making sure they're ready to strike as soon as one of them is deciding to just walk him in.
Ooh, WTG takes on Meyer. They now also know where Tony is because he just shot at the buzz, as I believe Hard was trying to peek from there. So now it's a free V1. They can go on towards the side, but they don't even have to. WTG moves in, takes down the last kill, and now it's already up to a 4-0 for VP. And we were contemplating, was it just a lucky, good, quick game on the first one? It was a 7-1 against Ascent, but it seems to be no luck. It seems to be all skill.
Yeah, for sure. It's a second different map as well. It's not like we've just seen one map from them. They're showing that they can do it on Equator as well. So, you know, maybe we get to see all 5 maps from VP over the time, but definitely great plays coming down from them. This time, though, Splinty will get the early kill onto Rask. It's always a big help when you find someone that early on. Just allows you to play a bit more passive or aggressive from that point onwards.
FMX now takes down Meyer, so it's back to a 4-on-4. The shotgun being taken out, usually the nades being used at the start of the game. This map, relatively close combat, your nades can reach wherever, and if you know that VP usually doesn't play too quickly at the start, you can take them out accordingly. Hard now takes down Tony, as he will be getting a headshot in return. Splinty also going relatively low. They know where he is. They're trying to hunt him down, and so they will. Hard takes him down in the end. 4-2 situation. VP, and yet another round. Yet again so dominant.
Only up to Twisted now. Oh, it doesn't last long. FMX takes him out, and Virtus Pro making some quick work again. Not even letting it get to the capture point in most of these rounds, and it's 5-0 for them. 2 more rounds. This was the point, by the way, where we saw a round come in from the opposing team in the last time they were playing. So who knows? Maybe Hepta is going to be able to find one and then put up a second one in as well to go for a bit of improvement. But at least I think that first loss that we've seen happen on the side of Ascent, it's going to feel a little less bad now, considering VP is just continuing on.
It's just VP seemingly already being the cleanup crew before them actually being deployed. Shots already being fired. I believe Rask being hit by a nade going towards half HP, but of course will be able to heal as FMX takes down 1, but Vasily now moving in close. This time, Hepta is trying to move a little bit faster, trying to get in towards the faces of VP, and it's moderately working until they get traded out again and again, and now it's a 2-on-2. Luckily, Hepta is still in it, but for how long?
Rask just hunting a person down there. Splinty the last man standing. Just gives some time to go for heals. Splinty's just holding off near the capture point. Score is going to be the strategy. Don't want to be all the way on the opposite side of the map and wait for the cleaners. As he finds Magic. 1-on-1. He's going to be winning it. Rask just holding off. He's waiting patiently, knows roughly where the other player is. Splinty, no clue where Rask is. He's moving around very slowly. And Rask is just trying to get himself close towards the capture point. just cutting the pie, making sure there's no one out there. He's just holding what he thinks is the most advantageous spot. As soon as he pops up there, could instantly go for a tap.
Initially they knew from both sides where they were, but now it's a guessing game. Rask has no more clue where Splinty is, apart from not on his side of the map. It's Splinty actually very close to the objective already. It's time to capture it as well. But of course he doesn't want to make the mistake early on by running in and having Rask exactly know where he is. It will just be an easy shot then. Going in towards the bus. Splinty is making noise now, he knows, but I believe he's actually got the advantage over Rask.
I mean, he's going to be inside the capture point very soon, and that's going to be giving it away for Rask, doing some damage, but not quite able to get the final shot in. Definitely going to be a bleed and a fracture out there. Losing the arm, Splinty needs to go for a bit of healing. Heavy bleed on the side of Rask is needing to take care of that. Actually lost his head.
Oh no!
And still able to survive. 7 seconds before the cleanup crew comes in. Don't know who's worse for wear right here. I'd say it's Rask, but on the other hand, it's Splinty that doesn't really have the most stable aim right now as Rask has the high ground.
They're trying to look for each other, but this time it's going to be finally a round win for Hepta, and they are able to make it work. Celebrated. Smiles all around, but on the side of VP, not even fazed by this. They're still 5-1 up. Do they really care? Well, probably not. And you see, it's just a little bit of a training fest. This time, Hepta actually moved as couples, trying to be able to refrag when need be, and they did. And just a little bit of cover helps Splinty here to get the round in. 5-1, Hepta able to bounce back slightly. But the question remains, for how long?
Yeah, it's going to be a WTG starts it off, and it seems that side of the spawn usually has a bit of an advantage, but Vesely and Tony both will be able to find a kill themselves. A lot of damage done to Rask as well. Heavy bleed, soft bleed as well. He needs to deal with those before he's losing any more as he gets taken down by Meyer coming around the corner. FMX now a bit wondering where that happened from as he's looking to go for a bit of a trade. Hard finds Splinty. A 2-on-3. Oh, the team kill comes in from Tony, and that's going to be given away to FMX towards Hards as they find another kill. Vesely's healing himself.
They
He's back in
bounce
spawn.
back. Did you know that the spawn is actually the safest place if the cleanup crew comes in?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they actually don't go there that much. I know this because we had an AFK. You know.
I mean, it's also like if you don't make noise, they're not going to be coming after you, right? So like if you just sit still, it's like in one of the edges of the map.
Oh.
Like if I were Vasily right now, I would not want to hold out and spawn because the capture moment is still coming up first. And oh, look at that, just looking through the pellet out there, trying to get some information, and it works out as well as it finds Hard. There's still one more going. And FMX up against Vasily, again in a 1v1.
10 seconds left. Vasily is trying to jump spot it out, tries to heal up a little bit more just to be certain he's able to come in. However, he's lost an arm. That's gonna be quite costly for him. Gets spotted as he jumps out, and FMX now with VB's round. We should mention, Hepta again in this round were really strong. But unfortunately, a team kill made life way harder than it should have been. And of course, also these plays from, for instance, Hard did not really help. And here you see Meyer taken down by Tony was a little bit too antsy. But that's the issue. When players swap around from the sides of the map, try to move around the opponents, they sometimes move into each other's crosshair.
I mean, it's a call out that comes in, right? Like he's on the box, and then at that moment he moves out, and you just move up on the box and get yourself killed. Grenades being popped off, a little bit of damage done towards Vasily, but nothing too dangerous as of yet. FMX taking some shots as well as he's looking over towards the left flank of himself and his team just to make sure there's no one out there. He's actually strafing back and forth. There's 2 kills coming in on the VP side.
Make it free as they're on their match point as well. Tony goes down, only Meyer alive, but not for too much longer. It's a 7-1. VP takes yet another match with yet another 7-1 scoreline. Hard this time the top frag with 11-5, and he was already highlighted in the previous match, of course, by our analyst because he was doing so well, and once again he just shows how strong he is.
Honestly, VP have been showing up in force right here. They're showing that discipline works out wonders for them, together with, of course, the raw talent that you need to be playing this game just to the right level. So VP, who can stop them? That's the big question.
Well, I couldn't definitely, especially looking at the fist bumps coming out, and they are doing so well on VP's side. They won 2 matches. They have 1 more yet to play today. and it might be that they'll make it a 3-0 for themselves. Let's head to a break, then get back to the LSS because they have a lot to talk about.
Welcome back. I am standing here with WTG from Virtus Pro. You just had another very dominant victory. How are you feeling after that?
Absolutely fine.
Very short but sweet answer. That sounds very good. But you've just had two very successful games. I spoke to Hart earlier. He said, we focus on the game. Was that the game plan now as well?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, there's not too much information about the game meta and stuff like that, so we just trying to focus on what we have right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But then again, you have experience playing other games competitively, right? Do you feel like that experience helps you here?
In terms of communication, probably, yeah. But in other aspects, it's really a really different game, to be honest, from what I played. So yeah.
So this feels like a completely different game. So it's still kind of new for you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. And then you have to play against Into the Breach later today. They've also won a game earlier. How are you feeling about that game later?
Pretty fine too. I don't know what to expect like from other teams. Like, well, we screamed against them, so we kind of know how they play, but we don't know how they will do on stage. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good information to have. You scrimmed against them. Well, good luck on your matchup later today. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. You too.
There you go. Thank you so much. I can give the mic back. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we have our interview here. Some very wise words. They were scrim partners before, so very much looking forward to that matchup later because they have seen each other on the server, but there are still so many games that we have today in as a whole, and we have a lot to say about this one as well. A quick break, and we will be right back with you. Welcome back. We have had a very successful victory again for Virtus Pro. It starts to feel like their second nature at this point.
They're good. They're very good. You know, you can sit there and say, okay, they've done it once. Could be a fluke chance. Could be. No, they know exactly what they're doing. The gun skill from them is second to none. Hard.
Yeah, it's outrageous. You know, as I said, this map plays into the strength of just mechanical aptitude of the players, and they're picking up Magic and Hard. These guys are absolute machines, and you can just see that coming through, right? Again, they picked all the same loadout. They're all agents, so they just focus literally just on the gameplay, getting those headshots, and they've just dominated.
That's the funny thing, because that's what we're getting there from the players as well. We're focusing on the game, we're going to pick those 5 agents, and we're going to just send it. But, I mean, from this game, we have one very specific highlight that we'd like to show you, and so far in this game, it felt like, once again, a very strong performance from Hard.
It's a 5-0. This was, I think, to get Hepta back into it, wasn't it? And this was a bit. It almost looked as if maybe they could build something from this. I think Rask, he's kind of in a position where he doesn't really know where he is, and this is where I think the communication aspect of not knowing where teams are is so important.
Yeah, and
but that little peak jump just did not work out for them, which I've seen that a couple of times where teams will go for the peak jump. They'll try and see if they can spot anything. But now teams are starting to catch on to that. You know, they'll just maybe wait for you to go for that and then just try and snapshot you. You know what happens?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the base game, it's very, very popular to, you know, jump past, bump past to different doorways and things like that to get information first and then come back for a pre-fire on the right-hand side because you have a huge advantage right versus left in Tarkov. But these guys are so good, you just can't get away with it. And in the LAN environment as well, you know, there's like less latency and there's less desync, and so you can catch people out when they try and do this stuff, and we're seeing that here.
You know what? This game was so fast. We have one highlight, we have one more, because the game was that fast, but we have one more clip to show you guys of what exactly happened and went down in this matchup.
I mean, this was just rapid from VP again, wasn't it? Rask's positioning, I love him being up above, because you can just call out for the likes of Hard, for the like of Magic, and just tell them, there's one guy over there, and they're straight on it. They're so quick with getting the information and feeding it out for the rest of the team.
Yeah, exactly. And with all the sandbags there, you're not necessarily at risk of being insta-killed. You can actually avoid getting shot up there, which is, you know, it's a pretty good spot. You know, it's exposed, but you don't want to be up there all the time. Yeah. But if you do manage to grab it just for, you know, even for 15 seconds or something and say, right, guy there, and you can call it out to your team, that just helps so much in a round like this where you want to point your two front man, just send them in so they can go and get, you know, 4x KD ratios. It's nuts.
Yeah, for Hepta, this was their very first game. It was the first time we saw them on the stage. What do you feel like their game plan was, and what went wrong in that?
Again, I don't know if it's so much on Hepta, mostly just because I think VP are that good. I think every team will probably struggle against VP. I mean, certainly we'll see it later on, whenever maybe, who knows, Gamer Legion could be the best. They could take down VP, but I don't really see that happening at the moment, just based on how they're playing, the way they're hitting their shots. It's going to be really difficult for them, so I wouldn't get too down and out of your Hepta. The same happened to Ascend. Ascend then go into their second game. Sure, it's another loss, but it was a lot closer. You know, it went down to that 7-6. So I think for Hepta, it's not all doom and gloom. You just go next. Just don't even worry about that game.
You know what? Go next. They literally have a game after this.
They
have to go back onto the stage, play a game against Gamer Legion, as you said, who we haven't even seen yet. They might be the strongest team. Hepta might have a second chance at this game, but we'll see that after a break when we have the next game ready for you. back to Tarkov Arena. We are almost getting ready for our 4th game of the day. And as we mentioned, a team that hasn't played yet, so let's get them out on stage. Let's get them started. It is Team Gamer Legion. We have to wait a few seconds. I heard it indeed.
Hold on.
But,
wait.
Yeah, hold on.
No, they're not in. No, they're not in there.
You didn't loot them?
No, I didn't. They're
Oh,
not
that's
in
silly. Well, they're here now though. Gamer Legion. They said as fast as possible, so I was like, Demo Gig, in all honesty, do you think you would get spooked with the fire on stage like that?
No, I've been around a few fires in my life. I think I'm good with that.
It's like you're traumatized. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm completely fine.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, at least they came up with fire indeed as well. The jersey's looking good too, and you mentioned there's pretty decent orgs coming into Tarkov Arena. You know, it's the first time these orgs are getting in.
Yeah, Gamer Legion, another old organization across other titles, of course. So yeah, it's good to see them getting involved in it, and obviously bringing a team. Again, it's difficult to really know what to expect though, because we haven't seen them play yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen them play yet. Their opponent, though, we have seen them play yet. Just now, they suffered a pretty tough loss against Virtus.pro, but they are ready for a comeback, and that team is Hepta. Right, we've seen Hepta come onto the stage. They of course had that loss that they just suffered against Virtus.pro. They're ready to go again against Team Gamer Legion. And now I think we should focus our attention on them because we haven't seen them before. But when we look at Team Gamer Legion, there are friends on this roster, but one particular interaction that I heard from the players that really stood out to me was Furlix, who said that Stranger Ping was actually a big fan of his before they started playing together.
I mean, this is something that you can see, especially with, you know, younger guys coming up through the ranks or whatever. People look up to, you know, creators or streamers or whoever, and then they end up playing alongside them. I mean, that happens a lot in, you know, it's kind of more niche communities, which Tarkov is in some senses. So, yes, it's nice to see, you know, they say never meet your heroes, but...
Oh, you can. Haps met me, for example. So there's always that to take in consideration.
Alright, well, we're looking at the team lineups here on the stage, and we saw the players on the side of Gamer Legion as well. Is there anyone, of course, next to Furlix and maybe Stranger Ping that stands out to you?
I think the one person that we really should be looking out for is that Ace. I mean, I just keep going on about it, but the Punisher tournament, he was number 2. So he's another one of these guys who's extremely gifted. I said Hard was number 3, so he's kind of in the same caliber. So I expect him as well with Bay 5. It's a really mechanically orientated map. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's small and tight again. So, you know, expect a lot of these fast SMGs. And, you know, if he can front line, I think he could do really well.
Is that your map prediction, Bay 5? Is that what you think? We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Could be a good one.
Yeah.
I would
See if
be
he's
down
right.
for 4 out of 5 maps after the first 4 games.
Yeah.
That would definitely be something I'd like to see there. But yeah, we talked about Hepta as well. They have a lot of experience. They just suffered a loss. What do you want to see from them now? What do they need to change?
I just want to see them just go in there and just play. You know, there shouldn't be any pressure. You got the first game out of the way. You've played the game on LAN now. You can go in there again, learn from that experience, similar to Ascend, but do one better than Ascend and go and win the game. You know, go 1-1 rather than the 0-2.
Indeed, yeah, 100%. What do you want to see from Hepta in this regard? What do they need to change in your opinion?
What I'm impressed with so far is that we're going to see this developing meta, and people are using the agent class a lot. And they were actually brave enough to go and pick the shotgun class, which is it's a one tap to the chest if you hit it. Now it is hard against these players because there's lots of peaks, there's lots of leaning. It makes it very difficult to get those shots off, especially with a pump action. But they gave it a good go. May look pretty good on it.
A few kills they got, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So they're willing to try and change it up to do something to beat the what looks like is coming out as the strongest class. They're willing to try things. So hopefully, I want to see them mix it up and try something different again.
Yeah, on the side of Gamer Legion back, we heard that Furlix and Coco are friends together, but then you also said that you know Bakisi a little bit, because he creates content as well.
Yeah, so he's also quite, he's a decent sized YouTuber, so he's Bakey's, he makes everybody
YouTube friends.
YouTube friends, exactly. But he makes everybody laugh in the community. He's a very, very funny guy. People love watching him stream. He's he's a proper joker. So.
Indeed, yeah, that sounds very good. I mean, I'm curious to see what's going to happen between these two teams. We'll have a map video, obviously, as well later. But any early predictions on? Because Hepta, they need something better now.
Yeah, I just want to see them just go in there, and maybe, I know you want to see the shotgun. I think at this stage, I think VB have proved it. Just streamline it. That's the best way to go. If you want to go 5 agents, it's working for them. Why could it not work for you?
You know what? I want to see 5 agents versus 5 agents, and then we'll find out who is the better fragger.
That's it.
But, I mean, we're going to find out more about the map and about what is going to happen eventually in this game. We'll have a short break, and we'll be right back. Set up behind us, getting ready to go into this game. And for Gamer Legion, I imagine there must be some kind of tension or maybe stress. I mean, that might not be the right word, but it's their first game they're playing on this tournament.
It's a good thing and a bad thing. I think the bad thing is you still have yet to play your first game. So yeah, it can happen. But the good thing is they've seen already quite a few games being played. So they should have a good understanding of how maps have been played out, how teams are performing at the moment. They've had a chance just to watch their opponents, the same way that we said maybe that favours ITB. They've just seen what Ascend were able to do. ITB went on to then beat Ascend. So there is always that factor of knowing what your opponent's going to do, can have their general play style, and they can start to adapt against that.
Yeah, exactly. They've not had to play back-to-back games or anything where it's hard to adjust your play style between. They've been able to sit back. They've probably had a few different plans of what they want to do, looking at what's working and what's not, and then they can really confidently pick a particular subset of the strategies that they've been thinking about beforehand to actually go with.
Yeah, I definitely think due to the previous game being such a stomp, Gamer Legion probably found out the weaknesses on the side of Hepta, and hopefully for them, they can see those same weaknesses in the map. It depends, of course, on what map we'll see as well. We have 5 maps. We said we've seen 3 of those already. We kind of want to see a 4th extra map, but Sawmill is probably not in the...
Well, it's between Sawmill and Bay 5. That's where we're at. He already thinks it's going to be Bay 5. That's what he thinks it's going to be. So we'll see if he's right. But yeah, I think, Sawmill, obviously potential, but I still think it's going to be that game of chicken.
Yeah, we'll have a map video very soon, though, on the screens to see if you were, in fact, right. And it is going to be Bay 5. And it's looking like you were right, in fact, about Bay 5. So how are you feeling about this map specifically?
He gets a present. Here you go. Spend that wisely.
Excellent,
Nice.
excellent. 50 million rubles in the bank. No, I just think it's really, really good. I actually kind of prefer Bay 5 to Equator,
It's
honestly.
very close Sawmill as well. The game of chicken almost.
Yeah, fourth ban actually on Sawmill. That is quite interesting. But yeah, so Equator's like Bay 5 is also really mechanical, a bit like Equator, but it's more twisty. There's more up and down. You have these containers that are lying on their side. You can run up. You can hide yourself in them. I believe it is harder to wallbang somebody through some of these containers than some of the other material we've seen. We've seen people getting shot through the side of the plane, through various boxes, wooden crates, all that kind of stuff. Bullets just sail straight through. But depending on the material, there is actually different damages and stuff in Tarkov. So it's maybe the teams have even tested that. They know where to sit so they can and can't get shot in certain places. So Bay 5 is really complicated. It's close in as well, but it's a little bit more strategic in my opinion. So.
Alright, and Bay 5, similar to the map we just saw, only has one objective as well. Now, we saw that on the side of Hepta, trying to, of course, secure objectives. Do you feel like that might play in here as well, that there's only just one objective on this map?
Well, one objective's a little bit different. We've kind of highlighted that you have to push the middle for, for example, Airpit, for example, you need to take the plane. If you don't take the plane, then you don't really have a choice of which catch point it could be. If you don't go for it. So I think in a map where there's only one, you don't have to worry about rushing out. You don't have to worry about getting control of the middle. It's just more about where do you want to see yourself be positioned, and more importantly, how do you want to play it? Are you going to be the aggressors onto the capture point, or will you just sit in a container? Will you just sit and play Overwatch almost and waiting for the enemy to go for it? And then if that doesn't happen for both teams, then there's a few guys I know who might come in and clear them out.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we've seen that it was slightly less aggressive, even bizarrely being on a smaller map, as you say, but the map control is less important, and the teams tend to sort of circle around the middle, kind of waiting, and sometimes one team will go completely down before that actually happens, but they're all just sort of waiting for the capture point to come up, and they're sort of playing around the center. No, you're not incentivized to go into the middle until the time, but because you don't need to move, it's nowhere near as important to have that control as it is on the other two maps where you've got the split points.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about that one objective in the middle. Let's have a look at some footage of this map as well, so we can see exactly whereabouts that objective is and how this map looks like in general. Demo, your thoughts on this map?
Yeah, well, if you need something shipped, this is probably a good place to go to. There's a lot of containers, like Giga mentioned. It has a lot covered that you can also have. You can hide in them, a couple of good peaks as well. You can get in for a bit of vantage points as well. It's just, there isn't really a lot of long sights. It's mostly kind of like container, a little bit of walking container, a little bit of walking. It's pretty close. Again, this is where we have to come back to the agent class. It has to be a no-brainer.
I think so, yeah. There's one long sight line down one side, but if you're not kitted for it, you just won't take that angle. And so I don't really think there's any point in having a longer range kit on this map particularly. Who knows, maybe we'll see something, maybe they'll figure something out because you can see over some of the containers, and that's the only way that you get other sight lines, but you're also very exposed, so it's going to be another close range map, I think.
I'm very happy that I get to talk about the map and not have to play the game, because I tried playing this map by myself and I got lost. It seems like it's a very big map, but then again, we saw teams come out with what looked like a blueprint, so like a map, basically, a map layout. Do you feel like that might help, or do you feel like there is a potential for someone to get lost here?
I think it's a bit of a cargo jungle. I think you can certainly throw that into the mix. These guys all know. These have put a lot of prep in, over the past few days, making sure everything's ready for this. Remember, they haven't had a whole lot of time to really experience this game in its full.
That's not it.
Yeah,
well, game releases. That's a bit more, but that's...
But constantly doing it for months on end, which is what we're used to seeing, esports players have. These guys have had to work with a severely limited time. Even ITV, they were saying they didn't really get a chance at all because of different commitments going on in personal lives. It's tricky to get everything down. So yes, sometimes it may not be the cleanest or look the sharpest, but as long as you have a general understanding, which I believe they all do, you should be able to make your way through it.
For sure, and about specific players on the side of Gamer Legion as well. We talked about achievements, for example, for Bakisi, but Furlix as well. He's also played tournaments, and he won the Tarkov Amped Major, Giga.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of community tournaments that happen, and typically, there are a combination of different things. It's PvP, it's looting, so it depends on which tournament you're in, and exactly what the rule set is for it. And so
it's just so much different in this particular
It's streamlined,
environment.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
so much more streamlined, and it's so much more about the PvP specifically. There's no looting, there's no items, there's no rubles, there's no money count, there's no AI, except for the end. And so it's a totally different ballgame, and yeah, it feeds into those players who are so PvP orientated, which I believe is honestly what the community has wanted for this game for a long time, to come out and actually give something for those types of players.
I think it's so very funny when you speak to players in advance of an event like that, or in advance of an event like this, and they come back with information for you. I got two very specific or very different things back, I guess, from these two teams, because on the side of Gamer Legion it felt more like, oh, this is my experience, this is the type of achievements that I have, I want this event, I want that event. And I feel like on the side of Hepta, it went a little bit more casual. They initially said they were like having that drink and then decided to found an org together, but they've also came with some very personal facts, and I know you'll probably have a 20% chance of guessing it, right? But one of these players on the side of Hepta likes to play with slippers on stage.
You run up there and you go have a look, and you come back and you tell us, okay? That's what that. I'll send.
Some
Can I send
spying,
him? We do that.
some investigating. I mean, if you want to, you could. I don't know what the person's going to think of you looking at their feet like that, but I mean, you can try.
You can do. I'm not doing it. You can do
It was Meyer. I mean, they came with very interesting facts, and I learned about Two Twisted as well, that he likes his burger without tomatoes. Are you
What
a
kind
tomato?
of questions
Are you
you've been
tomato
asking these
enjoyer?
people?
I just asked
You
them,
say, what do you like in your burger? What does that have to do with
No,
Tarkov?
we didn't have a conversation like that. I just asked them, hey, do you have any like funny facts or something about yourself that we can, or like interesting information about yourself? But are you a tomato on burger enjoyer? Or
No, don't like
no?
tomatoes.
So you can join the team Two Twisted there.
I'm definitely a tomato enjoyer. It's a good time. I always enjoy good time. Little ones, they're all perfect. We actually grew some even. We like them that much.
It's growing little vegetables.
Right.
But Vasily's actually a big enthusiast about the Killer cosplay as well. Says it's his lifestyle. He likes the Adidas suit like you have as well. The
Well,
gold chain.
there's a few cosplayers up in the front row
Yeah.
who look incredible. The two guys, you know, who I'm talking about, the two USEC guys. There they are. Don't know if we can get a camera on them, but they
You
look
wanna wave?
great.
They definitely do, yeah. I saw them sitting on the site. They definitely look very much kitted out. I bet they've been on some loots already. You got anything in the meantime? Extra?
No, just, I mean, I'll pick stuff up as it goes along, but yeah, don't know.
I think you have to go back and.
Well, I keep giving out my lab key cards, and I don't think I started off rich, but someone's getting on me.
What are you gonna do with your lab card? You gonna sell it?
I think so. Everybody knows that the red room it leaves a lot to be desired. You have to run that room a lot, and unless you're a Shift W Labs PvP Chads, it's hard to make a lot of that map actually, especially these days. So the red key goes on the fleet. It's just the way.
Right. Well, we'll send you guys on some looting for about 2 minutes, I think. We'll have a short break so you guys can go loot, and then we'll be right back with you. players are setting up behind us still. We have some more footage of this map because, as we said, we haven't even seen this map yet. We haven't seen it in play yet, so we'll take a closer look at this map once again. And any additional things that you mentioned the containers, of course, but I mean, maybe the LMGs or the shotguns are going to be important with that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's one thing that stands out to me is that in some of the other tests, there was a lot of grenade spam actually going on. But because everybody's picking up a class without one, we haven't really seen it very much because the temptation is to pick a class with a grenade, throw it right at the start, and pick the perfect line so that the enemy team is running through a particular pathway or a very common pathway and grab them at the beginning. But we just haven't seen that at all because players are very reluctant to give up the agent class and the benefits that you get from that. So that's partially why we see some people picking up Bunker and some of the other classes, but it just doesn't really seem to be working out.
I thought the nades were going to be really important today, but there just hasn't really been any of that we've really sat there and said, wow, nades are insane, they are crazy. Just, it really hasn't played out that way. Just, again, teams I feel are just playing just a little bit too safe. It's almost like they want to try and keep the nades if someone's contesting the point. That's what it feels like most of the time that the bunker classes are going for.
Yeah, that's what we saw before, wasn't it? But I think also teams that have got players that they want to push their kind of headshotting and their aim abilities, they're more incentivized to just not go for it. So I feel that if some of the teams feel like they're starting to be behind and maybe you're up against VP, that might be a strategy. Say, look, we're not going to out-aim these guys, so now we're going to have to start pressuring them out of the spawn. We're going to have to start pushing them. They want to rush forward as fast as they can with SJ6 with these classes. We're now going to start nading down those lines, and you can easily catch one or two people out. The explosion radius is quite high, and on certain maps, actually not so much on Bay 5, but on certain maps, there's only so many places you can go. Equator's very much like that. You've got those two very distinct left and right branches, and you can nade down there right from the beginning, and people don't like going through the middle.
Should have told Tep that before they play. That's what you should have done.
Someone's
You should be in there to coaching staff. That's what you should be doing. Spread the playbook.
I mean, maybe you would kind of like that as a role for the future, but we have a replay actually of the 7th round between Virtus.pro and Hepta to see a little bit more, to get a bit more insight of what happened between that game as well, what happened to Hepta, because they suffered a pretty tough loss.
Yeah, this was actually something that me and you were watching, and we were thinking, VP are a fantastic team. And this just shows how good they are, that they can pull it back from a 2v4. Obviously, we've had a bit of a TK in there, which does help them. But even still for VP, it just showcases that even if one of them's alive, they're still going to be dangerous. Hard especially, I know that you're a massive fan of him, Giga, and you just sitting there watching him, you just know he is so good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what we were talking about, where you've got these one-point maps where people are kind of moving around. If you move around like this at minimum speed and crouched, you can't be heard by the enemy team, even if you've got a headset on. And so, players are walking around like this. But this particular moment,
so nice.
Yeah, well, you see, Bassy uses the gaps in the fence to get information, and then leans and pre-fires against Hard. That was an extremely clean kill.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's the way that we kind of see people go for the jump peaks and stuff like that. If you're jumping in your line, you're making noise. He's not making any noise whatsoever. That's why he was able to catch him out. That's why Hard was in the open, because he didn't hear him. He didn't hear him until it was way too late. I want to see more plays like that. Smart plays. Smart plays are criminally underrated. If you can outthink your opponent, it doesn't need to be how good your gun skill is. If you're shooting someone who's got their back turned to you, it's a freebie.
Yeah, and the time to kill is so low that you can easily catch people out in this game, man. So in a fair fight, yeah, sure, the person with the snapshot is going to win, but you can catch people out like this. The maps are complicated. The way that it plays out is not necessarily that intuitive, and so yeah, you can snag these kills by being smart, and that's what Tarkov is known for. Yeah. Is known for smart play. You can use that and you can win without necessarily being the most mechanically gifted player.
Regarding that smart play, I mean, that's kind of already, we're seeing map knowledge coming out for these players as well, knowing that there are these slits in the little piece of wood you can look through. I'm curious when we'll see those nade lineups as well. I mean, we were discussing that before this event, really, like, there is a potential for people to study these nade lineups and just straight up bomb someone into spawn, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It's what we talked about previously with the presets, in that you can only have so many things. So if you get all of the benefits from the agent preset, you can't get a nade, and so you have to give up some of that if you want to go for it. And it is scary if the opposing team has 5 nades right off the bat and they throw them all. You've got 2 going down one lane and 3 going down the other. It's actually very hard to avoid it, and you might just think, well, okay, we'll just hang back a bit or whatever. But on some of the maps, you can reach the spawn, so you can put 1 in the spawn, 2 down the left. It's really hard to avoid.
And even if you hang back, you then give up map control. Because you're sitting in spawn, all of a sudden the opposing team are miles in front of you, and then you're battling back almost, you maybe have a third of the map, and they have 2/3 of it, where naturally it would be 50-50.
That's why I think it's so exciting that we're going to a new map for this matchup, or at least a map that we haven't seen so far yet in this tournament. A map that might not be too familiar. I mean, these teams have had the time to scrim, of course, for like a week, but then maybe they haven't played this map as much as they wanted to, or they played it against this opponent, for example. We all don't know that stuff, so I feel like it's time that we find out a few things. We will get some of our friends back in and on the broadcast as well. I'll toss you over to Hap and Toldus map.
Stanley ready for a new map, and again, a truly new map. We are spoiled, I dare to say, that actually the vetoes work out to constantly have a different map, and I'm really hoping to see Sawmill as the next one.
I was going to say, do you reckon the 5th map of today is going to be Sawmill?
Why not, right?
The analyst desk has been pretty...
I think Twitch chat wants to see Sawmill. They would
I
be
wanna see Sawmill.
furious if we wouldn't see Sawmill.
I want to see VP go Sawmill, and then see if their MP9s work there.
Oh,
Yeah.
because it's more open.
It's more open, there's
Bigger
longer
range,
angles.
it's crazy. Things can happen. There's so much that can go on, especially in this map as well. We've seen Hepta unfortunately be beaten by VP, but that doesn't say anything about their own level of play. It's just that VP seemingly is just way better than any other team out there at this moment in time.
For now, it does look like that, yes. You need to beat VP to be able to win the tournament. That's like what those 2 games have told us so far. Of course, when we head to best of 3s and people start to figure out there might be a counter to the agent.
What?
I mean, that's what I thought they were doing with the shotgun, because it's a one-shot, kill on the thorax. If, that might have been the choice that we're going for. It didn't really work out that well, because if they jump past you, well, you need to keep up with that, and didn't really succeed with it. So maybe throughout the days, they're starting to figure out how to stop that agent kit from truly wreaking the havoc it does, and at that moment you might be able to get the upper hand.
It's what Giga and Demo also said, like the nades that could maybe help that quick progress to come out. However, one thing we've noticed is that people are more rapid than we could even anticipate them moving through the map. However, this is also going to be the first map that we're actually going to look at Gamer Legion as well. Completely new team, so it's going to be a completely new benchmark. Where will they match up in this ecosystem, in this tournament of 5 teams? And that also means that we're going to have seen all 5 teams after this match as well.
Yeah, that's it, and that really allows us to start, putting some pieces together to truly say, okay, first pros on top. I think that's fair to say.
That makes sense, almost.
Like currently, I would say ITB, then Ascend, like something like that. I mean, they had a really close matchup against ITB. And, Hepta might be coming down there, but we don't know yet, because it really depends on this matchup, and maybe Gamer Legion just shoots up the ranks if they go for a 7-1 here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Let's have a look at the Gamer Legion lineup as well. As of course, they are a new team. We haven't seen them just yet. Furlex, Stranger, Ping, Codex, Cacao, and Dead Ace will try to compete against the might that is Hepta. Will they be able to get the first win on towards Bay 5? Hep, what do you reckon? What will be the score? Just a random guess, because we can't do anything else than a random guess.
I'm going to say it's a 7-4. I'm not going to say which team.
Okay, 7? Really?
Yeah, it's just, pull out of the sky. So
I'm going to go for 7-5 because I want it to be closer. The game from Ascend against ITB was so incredibly close, it could just go either way at any point. So I'm really curious to see if Hepta and Gamer Legion can actually bring that forward as well. Let's also have a little look at the lineup of Hepta, of course, the team we've just seen before, but maybe you've just joined in. It's Meyer, Two Twisted TV, Scooey, Splinty, and Tommy. They will try to, this time, come back from that terrible loss they just faced against VP. In case you are, in fact, just tuning in, they got destroyed 7-1 by the Virtus Pro lineup. But then again, the same happened to Ascend in their first match, and then again, Ascend also made it really close against Into the Breach.
Yeah, they've definitely made it close, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what comes up. But for those of you that are just tuning in, you might have not really watched any Escape from Tarkov before.
Crazy.
It is, this hardcore, realistic shooter that we, some of us know and love, and the others have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it because they lose all their rubles all the time. But as they go on, they make this into the arena. It's like a 5v5 PvP-focused game mode, which, normal Tarkov plays a bit more passive, I dare to say.
Oh, yes,
Unless
definitely.
you're a Labs Chad. If you're a Labs Chad, then you just keep on running. But the normal players will just be bit held back. They don't really fire their weapons as often as you might maybe like, And then when they finally do get into combat, it's like, oh, I don't know what the recoil of this weapon is like. So
No,
it's just
but-
you don't win it.
In a sense, this might also mean that Arena might be a very good training ground for a lot of players that are sometimes a little bit out of tune with certain weapons and certain kits that they want to try out, but just don't want to risk the weapon going in towards a raid. And the interesting thing is, it is quite high intensity. We've noticed as well, especially from VP, just the energy they are bringing in towards a match is just next to none. But I also have to give props to Hapta, especially with Meyer playing the shotgun, being able to move in relatively close, getting a bit of success, both with the nades, both with the shotgun as well. I'm really hoping that he isn't scared off by what VP showed and he might actually run it again.
Who knows? I mean, it just instantly goes through the armor, right? So it worked out well against VP to some extent. Like he got some of those kills, but the thing is, VP just flies around every corner. It's like, you know, just racing around it, don't really care what's on the other side of it, because they have that confidence that they can just win out those gunfights. And that's something you need to develop as well. So that is maybe something that we'll see from these teams come in now after this game. You know, maybe one of these teams will feel more, you know, confident about their own skills.
I just went on Twitter for a moment and I got truly shocked.
It's called X now.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like to talk about my exes. One thing that showed up was some guy called Dimitri saying that Arena was around the corner. But there's so many corners on this stage, I have absolutely no clue what that might mean.
You know what? Let's just go for a quick break,
Okay.
and we're going to find that corner. So we'll be back in 3 minutes.
Welcome back to, of course, the biggest and of course the first EFT Arena tournament. We're getting ready to get in towards our actually fourth match of today, and it will be between Gamer Legion and Hepta. Hepta just taking a loss against VP with a 1-7 scoreline. That unfortunately for them, their first demise on the equator, but we're changing maps, so we might be changing preset kits as well.
Who knows? We'll get to see if we are going to see different classes here. Of course, completely different kind of map again to be coming through. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more agents though. They've been doing quite well so far as one of the favorite presets. Also though, we've seen the M4 with like the 100 round magazines. Really good if you want to pre-fire things. Well, I'm not really sure if this is the map where you're just infinitely throwing send bullets downrange on the plane.
Ghost would do so. I'm pretty sure that he would. And the interesting thing is that people might be saying, well, we pretty much exclusively see Agent. Why wouldn't we just see Agent the entirety of the tournament? Will it not get a little bit stale? Well, lucky you! We actually had something covered for that. In the first phase, in the group stage, a part of the event, we will have certain restrictions to certain kits. And then when we move on towards the bracket stage, actually the kits will change as well. So the presets will go up in tier, the armor will be better, the weapons will be better, and suddenly the game will change entirely. Will there still be SMGs to run around with, or will people more likely go for heavier weaponry?
It's going to be the big question, but we don't know until we actually see it. And I was thinking about this, like now, you know, Arena is apparently around the corner. Don't really know which corner it is yet. Didn't have enough time to find out. But you're going to have all these presets, and, you know, like the Agent kit running quite supreme now. You're going to be using the MP9. Maybe we're going to see more MP9s come into the actual Escape from Tarkov as well, because people get experience with this weapon, and then they'll be roaming around and like, well, I've played this so much.
This is now my best weapon ever.
This is my best weapon. I'm just going to play with it. I'm just going to run with it.
And then suddenly, we see more aggressive players just in the normal raid scheme than messing up.
Possibly.
Thinking they're really good, but then losing their life.
Yeah, and then they lose their MP9 and their rubles, and they need to get again. So, I mean, maybe a bit of a circular kind of method that will get us on.
Well, the interesting thing is, of course, you have to keep in mind what's in the preset entirely, because, of course, ammo might be different than what you have in your stash.
Yes, very true.
And that will have quite an impact on, of course, penetrating the armor, just doing damage overall, and enjoying life in that sense. But we are getting ready for Hepta versus Gamer Legion slowly. It's going to be Bay 5. It's going to be different map. It's going to be more like our stage, actually, because as said by the analyst desk, there's going to be a lot of C containers there. They are quite strong, I've noticed. I tried to run into one. It didn't budge. Yeah. Well, thanks for trying to hype me up, but I didn't put a dent in it.
Yeah,
I'm weak.
no. I mean, it is metal, right? So it is just going to be quite tough to get through. Would assume not every builder will be making its way through, so something to keep in mind as well. And that's for the new viewers as well, or viewers that, you know, have played Escape from Tarkov in the past and they're now wondering, what's the deal with Arena? It's basically Escape from Tarkov, but
smaller.
You're no longer escaping and looting. You just, you know, you grab your preset, you go for it. But the armor is the same, the status effects are the same, you have helmet, you have bullet penetration, you have the flash damage. So basically, it is the PvP version that we're now going to be getting, or like the pure PvP version.
But that's what you're saying, yeah. But one thing they didn't skip out on is that it's still PvP VE.
That's true.
Because if you live long enough, you don't grab the objective, you don't kill your opponents, then the cleanup crew will come in.
Yeah.
And they'll try to hunt you down, and those guys are menacing. Truly.
They don't care about a thing. They hear a footstep. All right, let's go right there. Let's go what that footstep is about. And you know that they'll just hunt you down. So as soon as they come in, there's two things you can do: either find the highest point up on the map, so it takes a long while, with a single choke point that you can hold them off, or just don't make noise.
Or
they don't find you.
Well, I've also noticed when we saw air pit between Ascend and ITP, I believe one player was actually sitting in a corner where he expected not a pathing to really show him.
Yeah.
And you just saw one of the cleanup AIs run by, and it's like, it's pretty okay. And luckily he then won the game, or at least the round of the game, due to that. But we've just got word by our Majestic production team that we're going to go into the game relatively soon. Just a few more minutes before we head in towards Bay 5. You said 7-4 would be the scoreline, yet you still
Yes.
are wary to say for whom.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. 7-5 Gamer Legion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough. You want to throw it out there. I just don't know. We've only seen one of these two teams play, and they played against Virtus Pro, just frang out of their minds.
Well, that's the difference, Hap. I don't know either, but I'm just much more daring than you, so I'm just gonna try to throw it out there and see what it can be done. If you're just tuning in and curious to what the different results were from the previous matches, VP is currently on top of the group with a 2-0 scoreline, winning both their games with 7-1. Once against Ascent, once against Hepta, the team that we're gonna see play here as well. Then the other match that we've already seen was Ascent versus Into the Breach, where Ascent was trying to recover from the strong loss that they took against VP, same as Hepta is trying to do here against Gamer Legion, and Ascent was unable to get the victory in the end against Into the Breach and lost 6-7. The closest match so far, and of course going the extra mile with the maximum amount of rounds.
Yeah, of course, and you know, we're kind of waiting for that now. Are we going to see that again? Like, is it just VP plays and it's a blowout? And otherwise, going to get all rounds to come through? That's a big question. But I think we should be heading into game to find out
Definitely.
what it's going to be. Now, the round has started.
That's a very good
That's a
round.
very good
How did you do that, Hap? It's always just
Oh, that's just a
caster
bit-
cursing. Oh.
It's just a bit of magic that I pulled there. No worries.
Yeah?
It's just a joke. Call that misinput.
It's a half kill everyone, but it's
Getting-
very annoying. I actually did see some agents come out. I actually did see a stiletto as well, as people are very hyped out of a sudden. I'm not really sure.
I think it was the people on the stage. They were
Really?
just waving.
Oh. Hepta is just such a great team already, great vibes. We've already mentioned they are content creators, so they know how to build the hype and the story as well. And I dare to say, they have the biggest fan club here today.
I don't know.
And
do they
rightfully
have
so.
the biggest fan club? I'm just wondering, like, which team the crowd is cheering for. But the people have been walking in, like, in and out the entire time so far today. It's actually been quite well visited. So,
And interestingly enough, I tried to check the crowd a little bit as well. And one team that I just constantly keep seeing, trying to look at every different game as well, is Into the Breach.
yeah.
They're thinking like, we could spend time practicing, but then at that moment in time, you're just playing your own game still. However, when you're in the stadium here, when you're looking at what's happening in the arena at that moment in time, you can actually learn from maybe the best if you're looking at VP currently, but also think about different playstyles, different preset kits that might actually work out for you rather than just staying full agent.
Yeah, that's it. Or find a way to stop that agent. Maybe, like, you know, you find a way how you're going to be able to stop these kind of rushes. Maybe it's like a double setup on the corner. Maybe we saw some of it, like
Oh, yeah.
one person prone, the other one crouching up next to the wall. Like, it might be a one-on-one trade that you're going to be getting, either or. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But I don't see them now, so
They're
might-
scared.
they-
They're probably scared. And they'll be playing the next match after this one, and they're going to play against VP. So I can imagine
Yeah.
them saying, we just saw VP play again. We know how they play. We hope to play on Equator and know how to cancel the agent, as is the main factor of success for the VP side. And I'm guessing they're just trying to get timings on how can you cancel out the agent trying to rush in and get certain control points on certain maps. Because this is the time for them to do so, and maybe to prepare for that W to come in.
It might be where they're trying to find some like last second nade angles that we were talking
Oh, yeah.
about, right? Like it was being strategized that maybe if we can throw the nades in their spawns early on and we can continue doing that, we're going to be able to get an advantage there. But the VP's been out so quickly and they just run right ahead as soon as those doors open up.
And the crazy thing is, it's not mindless running.
No, they
Like
have
you
a plan.
could just rush in and die, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But VP actually sets up default setups where they just have two people being able to contest whatever contact come out. So whenever someone is in a firefight, there will always be a guy ready to stand by, counter, refrag, do whatever, and they just keep control of the map that way.
Yeah, they definitely kept control of the map quite well, but it's not just keeping control, it's also working together, right? Like, you have always two people watching the same angle, or someone watching your angle, so if you are being flanked, someone is at least there to get
Yeah.
the trade kill out. But now, for real, we are headed into the game. It wasn't a 7-0, it's just...
Hap,
It's a 7-0 again.
I'm never gonna let you toss in towards the game again. I'm never gonna trust you again with my life.
Well,
We've been together for so long, casting events,
these things happen.
and still you're doing this.
I'm
cast
sorry.
and cursing.
I'm just cast cursing everything. They're
Hey!
celebrating again, so let's go.
My heroes. Oh, they want to hear the crowd as well.
So let's
Twitch chat
turn
go,
it into a best of 5, where the last map was worth everything. So what we've done. Just
Whoa.
now. Yeah. Third map's worth 3 points.
Triple or nothing.
If we have it again, it's a best of 7. It's just
You've now seen Hepta win twice. Do you think they will win?
yeah, they're winning at 7-4.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Maybe 7-0 actually.
would have been
Somewhere between those.
Would have been a really BM guess to throw in, but it would have actually worked out, unfortunately for you. But looking forward towards maybe also the later games of today. Of course, we're gonna look at Gamer League versus Hepta right now when it starts.